Wesley decided Wesley decided that we were going to party tonight.
Well, it's New Year's Eve, so I figured you'd do as the New Year's Evens do.
Yeah, so we're recording on New Year's Eve. It's currently 10:40. I don't think we're going to make it to... We won't make it to midnight while recording this. But that being said, by the time you guys are listening to this, it will be 2024.
It will.
So a Happy New Year to you all.
Good luck with your resolutions.
Yes, hopefully they make it past January.
Mine never do.
Mine never do either. I'm the same old piece of shit as I was last year. And that will continue to be the case until I'm rotting in the ground. Here lies Gary. He was the same old piece of shit that he always was. But yeah, Wesley got his fucking Four Locos. I've never had a Four Loko.
I haven't either.
Let's crack them open.
Let's do it.
What have I got here?
You've got... Is it like...
I'm guessing this is supposed to be like a what they call it, bomb pop?
Yeah, like a bomb pop, maybe?
Yours is Warheads.
So, this is Warheads. I don't know how... This is a child's candy.
Yeah, it is.
How did they manage to link those two together?
I don't know. Oh, you guys might be hearing the fireworks as well as... Of course, it's New Year's Eve, so there's going to be lots of that going on.
Boy.
They consider it...
It's strong.
God. I don't drink alcohol. I'm not a drinker. I don't drink beer.
I have like a couple of beers like when I'm mowing the grass, but that's during the summer. What does that taste like?
Well, it's it is good. Like up front, it's good. It's very tangy. It reminds me of like a fruity type of soda, maybe.
Yeah.
But the aftertaste is just Bud Light. It's like the very last like notes or whatever are just it's straight beer at the end.
You should like pour it in a glass and like
yeah,
pour it in like a red Solo cup and like swirl it,
swish it around, spit it out. It's an oaky afterbirth.
Yeah, so that one's does it taste like a bomb pop? I mean, when I got it, I assumed that's what that was.
Yeah, it doesn't say on here. It's just blue and red. Yeah, kind of, I guess.
No.
You want to try it?
No.
I don't have cookies.
Let me try this one first. Yeah, that...
It's just beer at the end.
Yeah, that aftertaste is definitely... That one, not so much.
No?
Mm-mm. It definitely tastes like a... Like, was it the black cherry Warhead?
Sour Cosmic Punch. Oh, yeah, I taste that a lot.
You taste it more in that one or in that one?
This tastes more alcoholic than that one does. This one is hidden. I think the sourness helps that one.
Yeah.
Does that taste like a bomb? It's been a long time since I've had a bomb pop.
Sort of. Like in the middle.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle.
Right up front... That immediately reminds me of Smirnoff Ice.
Why are we talking about fucking Four Loko? Like it's a fucking tasting. Yeah, Smirnoff Ice. Yeah, you're right.
That's exactly what that reminds me of.
Yeah, I agree. 13.9%.
Because I puked my fucking guts out drinking Smirnoff Ice one time.
Really? You have to drink a lot of it because the alcohol content.
I drank a lot of it.
Because the alcohol content is not very high in those things.
No, I puked my guts out. Like, well, the ones that we had, they were like, this was just like Sprite.
Yeah.
Well, at the time, after a while, that's what they tasted like.
Yeah.
You know, and then by the time you get to that point, it's too late.
Yeah.
Even the damage has been done.
God.
And then you would just continue to make bad decisions. Your inhibitions have been lowered so much that
I'm sure I told the story about me getting blackout drunk at Chris's son's baptism. that was the last time that I drank.
Is that when you were doing tequila shots or something?
No. Well, before we get too far, speaking of Chris, today is Chris's birthday.
Happy birthday!
New Year's Eve, so happy birthday to you, Chris. Well, by the time they listen to this, it'll be several days past.
Yeah.
But as of right now, while we're recording, I don't know if I've told the story or not before, but I'll do a quick recap. Chris's son Axel had his baptism, and it was they were Catholic, so you know, their baptism thing is kind of like is different than like what like Southern Baptist thing
Yeah, they
is.
like pour the water like on.
Yeah, there's like a lot of like pomp and circumstance to it, and
Yeah.
it's like very like you know, it's a very spiritual thing. It's
No.
very cool, whatever.
Were you drinking the communion wine? Is that
Well,
what
I actually
did it?
didn't start drinking until after we had left the service.
You were like puking into the holy water.
No. That morning, I started drinking at noon, like right at noon,
It's a good start.
because after the baptism we went to a Mexican restaurant. Well, the only thing I had on my stomach up to that point was a bowl of cereal that I had at like 6 a.m.
Oh yeah, that'll fight it off.
So we got there, and as soon as I walked through the door, now this particular Mexican restaurant apparently had a what do you call it? A reputation for serving strong drinks to begin
Oh,
with.
okay, gotcha.
As soon as we walked
So
through
they
the
really
door,
leaned into it then.
yeah. As soon as we walked through the door, I walked to the bar and I ordered a Texas margarita on the rocks with an extra shot of Patron.
Oh, nice.
Mind you, I have basically nothing in my stomach.
No.
I was fucking drunk, and before the chips and salsa got to the table. And it was like, I got a large one too, so it's like, you know, it's like 40 fucking ounces.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, they're massive, yeah.
It's a huge thing.
Like a fish bowl.
Yeah. And I sucked that thing down, and I was drunk before like even the rest of the party showed up. And I don't remember anything.
No.
Because Mary said that I ordered a second one
No.
and drank that too. And like, and I don't. I remember at one point thinking like I think I have to shit. So like I'm like
You just
I
sit
was
there
ready.
and shit your pants.
Just sitting there, just
Right there in the middle of the restaurant.
yeah. I remember like I went to the bathroom.
I was like, "Who is that? Fajitas?
Yeah, ugh.
That's that sizzling sound."
Yeah. I remember going to the bathroom and like trying to poop, and then like it passed that. I got nothing for you.
Yeah.
Mind you, this was at like noon. I was the only time I had ever been blackout drunk. I don't remember anything from noon that day to 5 a.m. the next day, because 5 a.m. was when I woke up and I barfed into the toilet. All this rice. I don't know if I just ordered like a rice burrito with a side of rice, but the amount of fucking rice that I was puking up was insanity.
You're like, "I'll just have the rice pilaf."
Bring me 40 rice pilafs, please. I'm very drunk. But yeah, that was 3 years ago, and I really have not drank since then.
No.
I mean, I've had a drink
No.
since then, but I've never like, you know, gone out to drink and, you know, things like that.
I think the last time I was probably like drunk was at the 4th of July party
Which one?
at our parents' house.
You were drunk at that?
Yes. Like, I was not saying anything.
Oh no. You're trying to hide it.
I was just making smash burgers.
Oh, that one.
Well, people just kept giving me beer.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm sweating a lot because I'm standing over this hot griddle."
Like, it's fine.
Like, I was like,
Yeah.
"I'll just sweat it out like I did at Welcome to Rockville."
Yeah.
And obviously, I
That's
was not.
probably a lot different, though. I mean,
I
it was
was-
hot that day, but geez.
Yeah. But I was obviously I wasn't sweating fast enough to get it out of my system.
That's funny. So you're just drunk around the whole family.
Yeah, I was
You're
like-
trying to keep it together. just make the burgers. It's always such a funny realization when like it hits you like, I'm drunk.
You're
Oh
like,
no.
"Oh fuck."
I remember like one of the first times I ever like actually drank was I was working at it was when I was working at the Mexican restaurant. I was well past 21 before I ever had my first drink. Like
No.
I didn't drink that much or at all really. And me and a buddy of mine that worked at the restaurant, we went up there and we were like, hey, let's just hang out. Let's have a pitcher of margaritas and just, kind of chill.
Yeah.
Well, I think we ended up getting about 4 pitchers of margaritas. And we were like fucking high there, just as drunk as could be.
Yeah.
It's like 8 p.m. There's like still families in the restaurant. And so,
Like a kid having his birthday party, like stumbling over there.
so 2 of the girls that worked there, 2 of our friends, they came over and they got us to like settle our tabs, and they were like, "Look, just come out back and just like sit in our car and just kind of wait for a bit."
Yeah.
Well, then they decided like, "Hey, we're gonna go to a party. You guys are already drunk, so why not come with us?"
Yeah.
And we were like, "Ah."
Like, sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Before we ever made it to the party, though, they stopped at some bar, in Kennesaw. I think it's called like Highlands or something
Wow,
like
that's
that.
a long fucking way.
Yeah. And so I remember they went in, and I woke up in the back seat of the car, and I was in there by myself. They left me in the car, and I'm still really drunk. So I'm like looking around, and I see that there's a bar, and I'm like, I'll go in the bar.
Yeah.
Because I'm drunk. And I walked in and I saw my friend, my buddy who was with me. He was sitting at the bar, so I sat with him. And I started ordering White Russians. So I've had a mixture of like all this tequila
Oh.
and like
Just
now
throw some
all this
milk and vodka.
and Kahlua on top of that. And by the time we made it to the actual party that we were supposed to be going to, me and this guy, we were done.
Yeah.
They just kind of corralled us into a room and closed the door. And I remember I woke up the next morning. I didn't know where the fuck I was.
Yeah.
And my head felt like somebody hit it with an axe. Because this was my first time I'd ever like binge drank and and woke up with a hangover.
Yeah.
And I was like, where the fuck am I? So I pulled up Google Maps on my phone because I didn't remember anything. And I was like, okay, I'm like in a neighborhood. I was like, I still have all my organs.
Yeah. Like in a ice bath or something.
Yeah. So I just opened up the door and like in this house, and I was like, okay, there's a bathroom right there.
Yeah.
I went in the bathroom and I barfed, and then I took a shower. And then, I toweled off or whatever, and I found my friend and whatever, and I remember I was like, what happened last night? And like I pulled up my bank account.
Yeah.
I had spent $400.
You're like, oh no.
Yeah, I had spent $400 on fucking drinking. And I did not, at the time, I was working at a Mexican restaurant and living in an apartment with 2 other people. Yeah. I did not have $400 to burn on this shit.
Like, I'm going to have to pick up some extra shifts.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah, that was rough. That was a bad one. So that one and the baptism were the 2 big ones. And I've been very, very, very low key ever since.
Yeah. I was about to say, there was like the one time you said that, was it y'all were over at I don't remember whose house it was, said that he had like this brand new watch on. You're like scraping it on the ground.
Oh.
You're drinking was it the vodka or whatever it was?
Yeah, vodka. Oh.
Ugh, that sounds awful.
That was over at Brenda and Greg's house.
Oh, yeah.
Our younger brother's in-laws. In my defense, though, they invited me to come over and specifically requested that I get drunk with them because they were planning on getting drunk.
You're like, okay, I can do that.
And Mary was DDing that night.
Yeah.
And I remember I was laying. Mary had just got me this like really nice like black Fossil watch, and she was like, I was being drunk and unruly, and she was like, she's like, just lay down in this lawn chair, and I was like, okay, and so I laid down on it. And I started like swimming, like I was pretending like I was swimming. And I'm just scraping my watch all the fucking pavement. I remember falling asleep, and at one point, Mary Mary woke me up. She walked over and she woke me up. And she said, Gary, you have to throw up. She didn't say, do you have to throw up?
Yeah.
She said, you have to throw up. And I was like, oh, yeah, I do.
Now that you mention it.
And so she walks me over to the fence down by their pool or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just started puking. And it's just bologna. Like I had like a fried bologna sandwich. And she had these brand new boots that she had just bought. They were like felt on the outside. And it got all over her boots. But you know what? She still married me, so if you could puke on a woman's boots and she still marries you, you're doing something right.
Yeah. I remember for my 21st birthday, we had, so earlier in the day, was when I was working at the shop.
Yeah.
And Dad had taken me he's like, we're going to go eat Mexican. And I was like, okay. And then Dad bought me my first legal drink. And he was like, he's like, have a margarita. He's like, you're 21. Yeah. And so I had a margarita with lunch. And then I drove down the highway there. And it's like the first, where that gas station's at, when they first opened up the liquor store, like right next to it.
Yeah, yeah.
I stopped in there and I think I got, it might have been Jaeger. I think I bought like a bottle of Jaeger. And I remember just like going home and it's like getting it on the counter and like getting like some Sprite or something. Yeah. And just like drinking Jaeger like right out of the bottle and chasing with Sprite. And then, so I mean, I was pretty drunk by that time. Yeah. And then Allison she was like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to hit all the spots. And so,
this is when you had your infamous bar crawl. Yeah. I remember that.
So
you were a menace on the town that night. You were causing problems all over the place.
So we left there, or she picked me up, and we went to O'Charlie's, and I had fish and chips.
It's a good start.
Good start, right?
Some grease.
I thought grease and some like potatoes and everything else. Soak some of that up, and so I drank like 2 like tall boy beers while we were there, and then she's like, "Okay, well, what do you want to do next?" I was like, "Let's go to the watering hole."
Just
I was like, I want to experience it. So it was like me and Jason and Justin and Allison like show up at the watering hole.
For those of you that don't know, the watering hole is like, that's the dive in our town. It's like the dive. It's like, you remember the cantina that they go to in Star Wars? It was basically that.
It's so like we show up and like Jason just buys like a pitcher of beer and he's like, we're going to drink this whole thing. I was like, all right. I was like, well, on top of that, I'm going to go get a Jack and Coke. And so I'm
throw some liquor on the top of it.
I'm just like drinking everything.
Yeah.
And so we start playing pool and we're there for about maybe an hour and 15 minutes. And everybody's like, yo, this sucks. Yeah. Let's get the fuck out of here. It's like us and like a bunch of like 50-year-olds.
Yeah.
And so
they're probably all like, why are these young kids in here?
And so we like left there. And Allison was like, we need to stop by the gas station because we need to get gas in the car. Yeah. Because when we were heading to the Irish Bread Pub down in Carrollton. Yeah. And so we left there and we stopped at the gas station. Like, I was like, I'm going to run inside and go to the bathroom. Mm-hmm. So I went in, used the restroom, and then like I came out. I was like, oh, I'll just get something for the road. Yeah. And so I went and bought like...
Yeah, you're a roadie.
Yeah, I went and bought... It wasn't a Four Loko, but it was like Four Loko like adjacent. Yeah. It was like a Bud Light Spark or whatever it was at the time.
Right,
remember?
Yeah.
Like they had like the... it was like the energy drink plus the alcohol in there or something.
It wasn't a Bud Light Clamato, was it?
No.
I never understood who that was for. Bud Light and tomato juice? What the fuck?
So I get that and just go outside and just fucking crush it. Like, right outside the door. It's like women and children like And so like I crush it, like throw it in the trash can and like get in the car. And then we drive over to the Irish pub.
Wait, is this still the same day where Dad got you a margarita?
It's still the same day.
And you drank Jaeger at home?
Yes.
God.
This is fucking Frank the Tank, all right? And so we get to the Irish Bread Pub, and by this time
all the way out in Carrollton?
Yeah, I am fucking drunk.
Wow.
Like big time fucking drunk.
Yeah, well, I would imagine.
And so like, have you ever been to the Irish bread pub there? So you know, like they got the downstairs, which is like the
restaurant,
and stuff, and like upstairs is like a big dance floor and stuff. Well, not big, but there's a dance floor up there. And so we get up there, and like people are just fucking buying me shots, like Grey Goose and just vodka and tequila, and I'm like, here's a what's the one? It's like a chocolate cake shot or something like that.
They step on your foot and like your head hinges open like a trash can lid. They just pour it down your throat.
And so, like, I remember getting up there and...
Did you do a LA freeway? Do you know what that is?
It's just whatever the fuck is left over on the bar,
it's
right?
It's the little like rubber mats that they catch, the little catches, and they tilt that up and pour it into a shot glass. It's called a LA freeway.
And so, like, we get up there, and, like, by this time, I'm kind of, like, flashing in and out.
Yeah.
And then, like, people just keep buying me shots. And so...
It was impressive that you were in blackout at that point.
And then, so, I remember sitting there, and Jason came up with a shot of Grey Goose, and he said, here you go. And I tilted it back, and it was a boom, lights out.
Yeah.
And I don't remember fucking anything.
Yeah.
Until I came to, and I was sitting back in that same seat. So I thought... I was like, oh, I just, like, just for a second I blacked out. It's like, and then all of a sudden I was like, uh-oh, I got to throw up.
Yeah.
And so the bathroom up there, very poorly planned out, by the way. So you walk in, there's a toilet and a sink. And that's all there is in this bathroom.
Yeah.
And so there's somebody in the toilet.
Oh, no.
And I can't hold it anymore.
It's like at your throat.
Yeah. Like, it's coming out.
Hell no.
Yeah. And so, like, I'm just like, okay. And then just,
in the sink it
just
goes.
puked right in the sink. And so we they came like I'm like leaned over the sink.
Now are you like me? Are you a loud puker? Because I'm a loud puker too. I like shout while I'm puking. I don't know why. I can't puke quietly.
Oh yeah, my pukes are like violent.
Some people are just like blah. I'm like
So I'm just like leaned over the sink, just like wrenching into the sink. I just like feel somebody grab me like by the back of my shirt, and they're just like pulling me down the steps. And I'm just like limp. And they like throw me in this seat. I'm just like sitting there like over the fucking heads.
you're like lolling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I guess Allison saw him like drag me out there. And they were like calling the cops, like, you gotta come get this guy.
Yeah, he's a problem.
He's a problem.
Yeah.
And so she like grabs me and like takes me down to the car.
Now you were probably so drunk that you had been a problem for a while.
And so they like, so I'm sitting there, she like drags me out in the car and like we're headed home. And you know where the big intersection is there? Mm-hmm. We're just sitting there. I'm like,
Wait, right at the square?
No, like head like down.
Are you talking about where the bypass is?
Where the bypass is
yeah.
at.
The big one.
The big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're sitting there and we like get through the light. I'm like, you have to pull over. You have got to pull over.
Yeah.
And so she like pulls over to the side of the road. I just throw the door open like with like the seatbelt still attached.
Yeah.
And just like throw my head like out of the side of the car. And just like my head hits the grass. I'm just like, so I'm like my head's in the dirt. There's just like grass all over me, and so
got your ear up to an anthill.
and then there's a whoop whoop like behind us.
Oh no!
There's a cop.
Of course, yeah.
And then he comes up. He's like, too much fun tonight, or I don't know how it went.
Yeah,
because I'm fucking blackout drunk.
Right.
And then so Allison was like, it's his birthday. He's acting like an asshole. I'm trying to get him home.
Yeah.
And the cop's like, okay. He's like, just get him home. Don't pull over anymore. It's like find a bag or something.
Yeah.
And so it's like she gets me back and then like gives me like a bunch of Tylenol and some water. And I wake up the next day and I feel like $1,000.
Really?
I feel amazing. Like nothing ever fucking happened.
Really? Wow.
And so we went to the Mexican restaurant, and I started drinking sangria.
Oh, my God. You're like, I can do this every day.
I was like, I'm invincible.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, I was gonna tell you when I picked these up at the gas station up the road there, the one that's like on the highway there, like right next to the cemetery.
Yeah.
So I walk in and I get it. And
Was Indian Ray Romano working?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so like I go up and like say, hey, how's it going? And he looks like at me. He goes, oh, Ohio. And I was like, what?
Huh?
And he's like, Ohio.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I don't. What are you talking
like, no,
about?
this is Georgia. What are you talking about?
I was like, I was like, no, dude, like we're not Ohio. I was like, what have you been smoking? And he's like, Ohio, Ohio. And I was like, dude, I don't know what the fuck you're talking. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And he's like, your hat. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, I was in the military. This is from the ship.
Yeah, what does he think?
And I was like, I got looking at it. I was like, what in the fuck? It's got a dragon on the front
What's
of
got
it.
to do with Ohio? It says Way City.
Yeah, with a dragon on. Like,
He's like, so he saw your hat. He was like, Ohio.
Yeah.
All right. He's like, I've got this figured out.
I was super confused. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Was Way City? Was that the ship you were on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so all of the ships like serve like the names are they kind of like have the same type of like deal to them. So like all the cruisers were named after like famous battles. Mm-hmm. So you have like the San Jacinto.
Yeah.
And then you have like the Way City and you have the Gettysburg. And then I think the only one that wasn't that way, and it's been a while since I was in, I can't remember if this was a destroyer or cruiser, was I think the Sullivans, which was named after the three brothers that died in World War II.
Yeah.
And then you have like the destroyers, which are named like after different people and stuff.
Wasn't there, did they make a ship out of like reclaimed metal from the World Trade Center towers?
Yes, so that was the USS Liberty.
Yeah.
Which I think was an amphibious assault ship.
Is that the same one that our greatest ally attacked?
No, that which one was that? I don't think that was Liberty, because Liberty didn't show up until like right when I came in.
I could have swore it was the Liberty.
I don't think it was Liberty. I might be mistaken though. It could have been the Liberty. I don't remember when that attack happened though. I feel like that was like in the late 2000s.
It was Liberty.
It was the USS Liberty. Can I see a picture of the Liberty?
Let's see.
If that's the one I'm thinking of, it should have like two larger stacks.
This is like an older ship, maybe.
Yeah, that's not the new one. So the new one is, I think it's a LHD 7 maybe. I don't remember what the whole number is.
The USS New York.
Oh, is it the New York?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is.
Does it look like the way? Yeah. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
That one.
Yeah, that's the one. I always get that mixed up. That was how I always failed that part of the test during boot camp. It was like all the naval history shit.
Oh, did they make you learn all that crap?
Oh yeah. And you got to pass it or you fail boot camp.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So during boot camp, there's like 3 different things you got to pass. So you have like marching and like all the different shit that you got to do for like drill.
Yeah.
And then you have like, of course, your physical fitness test that you have to pass. And then there's like 3 tests that you have to pass. And they're like on like naval history and like military bearing and like all that other shit.
Yeah.
That you get taught.
I saw this thing the other day. It was I can't speak to the validity of it or anything, but it was a screenshot of a Navy recruiter or a military recruiter. Excuse me, I'm a little swimmy.
Got that loco in you.
Yeah, it's really affecting me. I don't know why. She was saying that, like, in the screenshot, she was stating that, like, they were accepting people who made a 10 or higher on the ASVAB.
Yes.
Is that a real thing?
Yes, they're having such a problem right now with the recruiting.
Yeah.
That they have lowered the ASVAB standards.
Don't you have to be like effectively brain dead to make a score that low?
It is essentially anything below a 10
Yeah.
is like diagnosed mentally retarded.
Like you have Downs or something.
Yeah.
Breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast.
Well, I need somebody to work the mess.
Because if I'm not mistaken, I think that like that's sort of like an IQ test in a way. Like they use it to figure out whether or not
Like what your
like,
aptitude
can you do
is.
anything?
Yeah. Yeah. So like, so you had it's ASVAB, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
ASVAB.
you had to take that, didn't you? Yeah. Is that like if you go into the military at all, you have to take that?
Yes, if you go in the military, you have to take. Well, I don't know about officers. I know that enlisted people have to take the ASVAB.
What is the scoring? Is it kind of like a SAT where like the max score is like a 1900? Or?
No, so it's on a scale of 1 to 99. So 99 is the highest
Okay.
you can score. And then there's like also different parts to the ASVAB. So it's like one of them is just like normal like shit that you got taught in school, like algebra,
Basic
and like
math,
basic
trig.
math, and like that kind of shit. And so we got like that, and like English and like some literature stuff, and like not literature, but like some reading comprehension type shit. And then
So it sounds very similar to like the benchmark tests that we took all throughout school.
yeah, so there's that, but there's also like electrical, mechanical, like they use that as like a sub-scoring system to find out like
if you already have any idea
Right.
like how do transistors work and
right,
yeah.
exactly. So I don't know how the fuck they like
Yeah.
like I have no like background on like electrical shit. I don't
Yeah.
know how I got that.
They put your name in one of those like roly bingo things. They're just like, all right, to electrical he goes.
So, like, they have like a underscoring system, and so essentially, when I went in, I wanted to go into the nuke program, which
Yeah.
is like you work on like the nuclear reactors, because I thought if I
Does
get
that
out,
stick you on like a nuclear sub?
a sub or like a carrier, those are the two that have it.
I would hate to be on a fucking sub.
Well, that's what. Well, to be on a sub, you have to volunteer to be on a sub. Like they just don't. You don't get
Yeah, like
assigned
any
to
old
a
person,
sub.
yeah.
Like you have to say like I want to be on a submarine.
Yeah.
Before like they let you on one.
Yeah.
So my thing was like, if I work on the reactor and on the carrier, it's like when I get out,
Yeah.
it's like then I'll have a really good like trade that I
Yeah.
know.
I worked on a nuclear reactor.
I worked on a nuclear reactor. Like I can get a job at a nuclear facility.
Yeah, there's one in Coweta County, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when I went in, like I scored like I think it was like a 93 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I guess like the benchmark is like a 94.
Yeah.
I guess. So then they had like a Bravo test you take, and it's like a bunch of calc and trig and shit on it.
Yeah.
And I think that one was scored a little bit differently, and I missed it just by a little bit.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, you can wait. I was like, no. I was like, I'm fucking broke.
Yeah.
Like, I need the money.
Yeah, I need something now. I'm like, I'm about to start turning tricks. Like, I need something.
So, like, that's kind of how I fell into, like, the electronics technician shit. It's called I just didn't score high enough.
Yeah. You know, I remember... Excuse me. I had a little schmutz in the back of my throat there. I remember, like, all throughout school taking those, like, benchmark tests, and I feel like I saw a lot of the same questions. Like, there were some questions in particular, like,
Like,
hey...
have you gotten dumber?
Well, I was like, I remember answering this specific question a long time ago. In my head, I had this memory of this one question that had an illustration of a roof with Spanish tiles on it.
Yeah.
And I remember coming across that question several times in several different years of my school career. And I don't know what the thing was with why that one question. I would imagine that a lot of those tests pull from the same,
Probably test bank.
like, like, you know, they don't make a brand new one every
Everybody's
year.
like, oh, this is a good one.
Yeah, like, this is a great question.
Yeah.
But I remember because we had to take, in 11th grade, we had to take the graduation tests.
Yes.
And I think, like, I stressed on that, like, way more than I ever did on, like, the SAT.
I didn't stress on the 11th grade ones as much.
Yeah?
I remember I stressed on the 12th grade ones a whole lot.
I don't remember taking any in the 12th grade. I took my SAT in the 12th grade, but I don't remember taking any
So-
other like big exams.
I think the only one that I remember that was a graduation one was economics.
Yeah.
And I did pretty well in that class, and I felt okay going into it, but there was still like that in the back of my head. It's like, you have to pass this to graduate. It's like, and you were in the 12th grade, so there's no do-over here.
Yeah.
Like the 11th grade ones are like, if I fail it, then I can do it in summer school or something.
Right.
Like I can make this up.
Like, this is your final chance.
Yeah.
Don't fuck this up.
I was like, why would you wait till 12th grade?
Yeah. Like, I stopped caring.
Yeah. But, yeah, so I remember, so those were always pretty nerve-wracking. Even the 11th grade ones were pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
The only, like, major test I went into were, like, I wasn't nervous at all because I knew I was going to fail the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Was the AP Calc exam.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I don't know any of this shit.
I have the slightest idea.
I was like, I have no clue what is going on, like, at all.
Who did you have? Mom as your AP Calc? Oh my god!
Yeah.
You just like
You might
dashed
as
her
well-
dreams.
You might as well.
What the fuck made her think you needed to be in AP Calculus?
You might as well just had the fucking caveman Ooga Booga
Yeah.
down there, fucking Oog down there trying to do fucking rocket science. I was like, I can't even get the calculator to do the thing that it needs to do so I can get the answer.
This is just hieroglyphics. This doesn't look like math to me.
Because I was like, at least like with the fill in the blank ones, it's like I can like take a guess.
Yeah.
But then there was like a whole like work it out
Solve
section.
this equation.
And I was like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I can't even bullshit this. I think the highest like math I ever did in high school was Trig 2, I think.
No. I feel like that's like a good stopping point.
Well, I mean, I feel like trig is like the last bit of like applicable math that like most people are going to run into.
That's really pushing it.
That's really pushing it because like calculus is where you start getting into like structural engineering and stuff like this. It's going to be very specific to like your particular career path.
Right.
Like not, you know, the layman isn't using calculus every day.
Right.
And I was never really good. I was never really good with math that. I don't want to say this. I was good. I could do math that had real world applications,
Right.
and especially things that I could like, you know, kind of make physical sense of in my head.
Mm-hmm.
All this like stuff that was like theoretical or
Yeah, I'm not
like
good at that.
imaginary. Like I couldn't think that big in my
Right.
head. You know what I mean? Like I'm very much a visual, very much hands-on
Right.
kind of learner. I can't think it in my head. I have like very limited space.
Right.
Like I have like probably 2 kilobytes of RAM going on in my brain. Like if you ask me to think about like an image of an apple, I can do that. But anything beyond that, it's not happening.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, so like I remember taking calc and I was just like confused the whole time. I was like, I understand. Essentially, it was like you just have to memorize the formula and just
Yeah.
plug the shit in and figure it out from there. And I was like, well, that doesn't help me.
Yeah.
Like I just memorized the fucking formula.
Yeah.
Like I'm not good at that.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, it doesn't feel like I understand what's going on. I'm just like parroting back to you. You know, like a parrot can say a word, but it doesn't understand what the word means.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas like later on when I went back to school and I did like college level like statistics,
Yeah.
that made a whole lot more sense because I was like, oh, like I see how this is applicable.
Yeah.
Like-
I see how this translates to
Right.
the real world.
And so I feel like at the time, had they offered like an AP stats class,
Yeah.
like that would have been a
You
better
might have been
option
able to
for
do
me.
that. Yeah.
Because like it's all this like plotting and like
Mm-hmm.
like working with like numbers and like charting and like all that shit.
Yeah, well, stats kind of go hand in hand with like graphs and shit.
Right.
Like, so you can like throw it on paper and like here's a visual representation of the thing that you're doing.
Right.
Yeah. I was in AP US history. I don't know why. I shouldn't have been in there. I don't know if Mom was lying to herself. I don't know what that was about. And I was also in AP Biology with Miss Dunbar, who we have expressed our feelings
My ire towards.
yeah. I think I was in AP US History all the way through 10th grade. I don't know how I managed it, but I got by on the skin of my teeth.
Yeah.
Probably if I had to guess, Miss Hardegree did me a solid.
Yeah.
But AP Biology, I only did the first 2 semesters, and the second half of school year, I was in like remedial biology,
Right.
which just seems strange. Like those were the only 2 options.
Yeah.
It was like AP Biology with like all the gifted kids, and then everybody else is just retarded.
Yeah.
How can that be? How is that? How is there no in between? How is there not like a class for just normal kids?
I specifically remember. So I remember I started my 10th grade year. And they put me into, it was like AP, like English literature or something like that. And like it might have been my 11th grade year. And so like we walk in and there's just a list of fucking books. Like we're going to read all these by next week or something. You know, not that, but,
Yeah.
And it was all like Canterbury Tales and like,
The Odyssey.
yeah, or like
The Divine Comedy.
yeah, or some shit like the one I hated the most was The Scarlet Letter. I hate that fucking book.
Yep.
I hate that fucking
me too.
book.
Yep. I had to read that one
I might
well.
as well just be reading another language that I don't fucking know. And so I remember that was like after that class, I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. And like they're all kids like I've been taking these classes with,
Yeah.
like the entire time.
Yeah.
And then I went to the counselor. I was like, you gotta get me the fuck out of that class.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna fail the hell out of that
can't
class.
hack it. You gotta get me out of there.
I was like, I can't do it. And so she's like, okay, well, she's like, we'll move you into St. John's class. And I was like, cool.
Fine.
And so I walked in there. I was like, what the fuck is this? What is this?
Yeah.
I was like, this is fucking madness.
It's a circus. There's that kid swinging from the rafters, just like paper planes and balls
Just
flying
fucking-
across the room.
just anarchy.
Just anarchy.
Just anarchy.
Yeah, for 1.5 hours. Just pure madness. Every goddamn day.
And it got so bad that I just kind of stopped going to that class. I just stopped going.
Like, amidst the chaos, he won't notice that I'm gone.
And the bad part about it is that all the tests were so easy, I didn't have to go to the class.
Yeah.
I could get a B on the test.
Yeah. Yeah, that was that. Even in retrospect, it just never made sense to me how there was no in between. Like there was only, like I said, it was like the kids. You had the gifted kids, and then like everyone else was just retards and criminals, and like that's all it was. It's like I don't belong in either of these groups.
Yeah. I feel like an outcast.
Yeah, I feel like a man with no nation.
Yeah, that's what. That's how I felt. I was like, I certainly don't belong with the kids from Malcolm in the Middle, like who were like in the gifted class over here. I was like, I have very little in common with them.
But I also don't belong with the kids from Stand and Deliver.
It's like,
How do I reach these keys?
I was like, I certainly don't belong over here either.
Yeah. And then, I got to college, and then it was just like the only thing that was making me go to class was me. And boy, did I not do that. I remember the last semester of college I ever did. There were 2 classes I never went to. I just did not go to
was
them.
that the lecture that you had
Well,
along with your
no,
lab?
if you include that one, that's 3. That makes the third one. 2 of them I was knowingly avoiding. I was not going to. That one, the lecture class, was like the second half of like a computer science class.
Yeah.
And I remember because like I had said before, I would go to the lab. I thought that was the whole class.
You're like, what are these people
And
talking
I was like,
about?
how do these kids always know what to do? I feel like I'm missing something. And like my lab partner was like, that exam was very difficult today. And I was like, what exam are you talking about? She was like, the one from lecture. And I was like, what lecture are you talking about? She was like, the other half of this class. And I said, well, I suppose my college career is over.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but the other two classes, they were, one was like an economics class, and then the other one was like a philosophy class.
Oh,
And I just didn't fucking go to them. At the time, like, I was not in a headspace that was conducive to being in college.
No.
Because I was in like a really shitty relationship, and I'm not trying to make excuses. My failings are my own and I own them. But there was a lot that like exacerbated the issue.
no.
I think the best thing I could have done was after high school, maybe waited a few years and then gone into college, because I went straight from high school into college and I just simply was not ready for it.
Well, and you're taking like a big game. You're like, I guess I'll do this. I don't.
Yeah, they're like, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? Like, I have no fucking idea.
Right.
I have no idea. It's like I like all through high school, we all did the exact same shit. So like, how do I come here and just have to choose something out of nowhere? I don't know. I'm still paying off my student loans, and it's like,
Same.
God Almighty, was it just not worth it?
No.
I would probably be in the exact same place I am right now had I never went to college.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when we were in school, and I don't know how it is now, but I remember them just being like, they were like, everybody needs to go to college. It's like, no, they don't.
Yeah.
It's like people need to go to trade school.
Yeah.
Like, people need to do that shit too.
Yeah, we were fed that. I mean, that was what they told us. Like, everybody has to do the following thing. All of you, all 500 of you kids have got to do this exact same thing. You've got to finish high school, go to college, get married, start a family.
Right.
And that was like, this is the only path forward. This is your only choices.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend that I was sold a false bill of goods. Nobody ever pretended like, if I went to college, it wasn't going to be all on me to actually make it happen. I recognize that I was not prepared for it.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely, especially too, because like with high school, it's very structured and it's very militant.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
is.
very, you will do this, like when you're at the school, you're required to do X, Y, and Z. You must do these things. But
maybe I just couldn't handle the freedom.
well, yeah, but like when you're like you like get out of high school, and it's just like, well, it's another 2 hours till my next class, the next lecture that I have. It's like I can either study and read the shit that I need to read, or
I can go dick around for 2 hours.
I can go do fucking nothing for 2 hours. I can go to the fucking student center and play fucking Halo 3.
Yeah.
I think I'll do that.
Yeah. Or just, or was the snooker? Is that what that was called?
Oh, yeah.
With like the little, like, you hit the puck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally anything other than the thing I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I'm not going to fucking study. No. What the fuck are you talking about?
Nerd alert.
Dork. Yeah, I always say that college was the most expensive gym membership I ever had. And then, I had some good experiences in college as far as like the people that I met, and there were a couple classes, the ones that I went to, were a couple classes that I really enjoyed doing. Like I had a music theory class. I tell you what, let me back up a couple years here. Here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to write and compose music for movie and TV. That's really what I wanted to do ever since I had the smallest inkling of a dream. That was what I wanted to do. And I thought, if I go to college for music theory, they can teach me to do that. Well, you have to pass like an aptitude test, a musical aptitude test to get into that, to even get into that portion of college. And in order to do that, you had to know like these like 12 scales.
Yeah.
And up until my senior year of high school, I thought only the B flat scale existed. I didn't know there were any others. I was not taught them. I remember like my senior year of high school, because I had the same band director all throughout high school. My senior year, we got a new person. And the first day, she puts this banner up, and she hangs it up in the front of class, and it's all the different scales.
Yeah.
Like, not like musical notes, like the letters, like A flat, B flat,
Yeah.
C, and so on. And she said, you should all of you know all of these scales by now. And I was like, well, there goes my dreams. I'm a creamy little 17-year-old with no more dreams. That's me. I remember, I think I told the story about going to that thing where we had to like play the scales or whatever.
Was that for the school for the college?
Yeah.
Is that to get into the program?
Yeah. To even like to even get in. Yeah. And it was my turn to go in and play. And I had to do all 12. I knew one of them. And so I guessed it like
I can just imagine the people sitting there like, is he fucking with us?
However bad you think it was, I assure you, it was far worse.
Oh, God.
It was far worse. Because I walked in there with my fucking tuba, and they were like, okay, play the scale. And I just made up some shit. And I remember that, like, after I stopped playing, we all just kind of looked at each other.
Oh, God.
Oh, my lungs. We all just kind of looked at one another, and they said, is it okay? Play this scale. I said, you got it. I did the same thing. I just made up some shit. And they said to me, I remember after the second one, after the second one, they were just like, okay, that's enough. And I didn't even get to play the one scale I didn't know. I just can't help but feel that had somebody during the 6 years that I was in school playing tuba taught me that there were more scales than the B flat scale, I might have stood a fucking chance.
You probably told them that, like, the fuck, there's more than one scale? You're fucking with me.
It was really, really bad.
You probably did better off like showing up with like some turntables.
Just the wrong instrument.
Yo, what's up?
yo, what's up? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it sucked because I really did enjoy playing tuba. And, you know, I enjoyed being a part of like an ensemble band and, you know, like that was one of my favorite things every year was, I looked forward to doing the concert band and, like, going to all the different, like, tournaments and, like, we got to play some really cool pieces of music and stuff. Marching band was its own thing, but the concert band was a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy that. But, I could have done a little bit more if anybody told me. But
did they have anything for, like, bass guitar at all? I mean, could you have done something with that?
Maybe, but...
Because I know, like, in college, they have, like jazz and, like, other stuff, right?
Well, I was in jazz band in 11th and 12th grade. Mm-hmm. And I played bass guitar both times, and...
You just, like, felt more comfortable with the tuba, like, going up there and doing that?
Or? When it comes to reading sheet music, muscle memory and reading sheet music was, like, kind of went hand in hand.
Yeah.
Like, just knowing because there's only 3 little valves on a tuba, right? So it's like any combination and permutation of those 3 valves, you can make music. But with a bass guitar, of course, there's, frets all over the place. So when I played in jazz band, it took a lot more brain power. Like, okay, like I recognize that this note on the sheet music is F. And I was like, and I know that these strings are E, A, D, G, so I just have to kind of alphabetically figure out where the F is.
Right.
So that took a lot of rehearsal, a lot more rehearsing. I definitely couldn't sight read.
Right.
Like, because that was, in concert band, that was one of the things that you had to do when you went to the tournaments. Is they would put a brand new piece of sheet music in front of you that you'd never seen before.
Right.
And you would have to play that. And that was called sight reading. I could not do that with the bass guitar.
No.
With the bass guitar, I was like, okay, if you give me this, I can go home and I can kind of study and figure it out. I was like, but I can't play it for you right off the rip.
Right. It's like I've seen like some like sheet music for like piano, and like I was like, oh,
yeah,
that's way too fucking much.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's just a lot going on, and of course, I'm sure it's one of those things where it's like, as long as you practice it, and the more familiar the more familiar with it you become, it becomes second nature to you.
Right.
But like, at first, the first time you look at it, you're like, what in the fuck?
Yeah, what is this?
How does anybody make sense of this?
Yeah, well, I mean, they probably still talk about it to this day, too, so.
I'm sure they do.
Like, hey, do you remember?
Remember when that fat kid with sideburns came in there with the tuba? And he just fucking made up some shit. I wonder if they like, to this day, are like, do you think he was making shit up? Or was he fucking with us? Like, it has to be one of those two things.
So was it like your initial thought after that, like, oh, like computer programming?
No,
like computer science?
The only reason I did computer science was because when I got to college, they kind of gave you like a grace period after college starts as far as like what your major is going to be.
Right. Well, you have like a period where you can like do just general ed classes.
Yeah. And I picked computer science on a whim.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, I guess this so I can click on a computer.
Yeah.
Like I can figure that out. I had no real direction in college. None. Right. I had none at all. And it was kind of funny. I got this reputation among our family that I'm good with computers. And I don't know why that is. Because I'm totally not. I can operate one. Yeah, and I can Google things.
Right, you're good with certain pieces of software.
Yeah. But as far as computers themselves go, I'm not. I wouldn't
running like command prompts. And,
yeah, I have no idea about any of that crap. You probably have a lot more knowledge about that than I do. But because there's this rumor going around that I'm good with computers, that rumor I owe my entire life to because the only reason I have the job that I have is because of that rumor.
Yeah.
And it makes me, it reminds me of, do you remember when Mom made that website?
Oh, yeah.
And all it was like a blog about the three of us.
Yeah.
And like you had a page and Aaron had a page and I had a page.
Yeah.
And I remember Mom was showing it to us. I don't know why she did it. Maybe she just was was just a side project thing that she was working on. But she was like, here's Wesley's page. And it was like all these like, Wesley such and such national championship and did this, that, and the other.
No.
And then Aaron's thing was Aaron's, he won this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And then here's Gary's page. Gary likes computers. I was like, cool. I guess I like computers now. Like,
she's like, oh yeah, he really likes them.
he really, I like to play video games. Is that what you mean? Like,
he's down here printing out titty pictures.
Yeah, computers are great. Tits all over them. There's titties all inside of this thing. You just ask it for them, and there they are.
Type in tits.
Tits. Clippy pops up. It looks like you're trying to find tits.
So it was like, was that your thought when you like? Was it? It had to have been Yahoo at the time. I don't think Google was even like a thing.
Oh, you're talking about
Was it Ask Jeeves?
No, I typed in Playboy.com. Like, I knew how
okay.
URLs worked. And I just printed out the home screen.
Like, yeah, it'll do.
Yeah, that'll do. I'm 12. These are
I need
tits.
to go no further into this website. I found what I'm looking for.
Could you imagine if I would have like landed on like some hardcore porn or something? Like, Why is he doing that to her?
That goes in there?
Yeah. I remember for the longest time, like, I didn't probably see a vagina until like
a vagina
until I was probably about 13 years old. And it was because a buddy of mine, I told the story before about he gave me that Girls Gone Wild DVD.
Yeah. Didn't that guy get in like a lot of trouble?
What, my friend or the...
No, the guy that did the Girls Gone Wild.
I don't know.
I think like not all of them signed release forms.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's like the main thing you needed to do. God.
He's like, man, fuck it.
Fuck it. They took their titties out. They knew there was a camera here. It wasn't hidden.
He's got like a briefcase.
Yeah, like a potted plant. He's like, oh, I just hold this succulent sometimes. Go ahead and whip him titties out.
Oh. But you were saying, so your buddy had given you the Girls Gone Wild CD.
Yeah, so that was the first time I'd ever seen a vagina. So I had no prior inkling of like what a vagina looked like. And I tell you, there's a lot going on with those things, and they're all different from one another. My understanding of what a vagina was, just because like I was like, okay, I know that a man and a woman, I know that a man puts his penis inside of a woman's vagina.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, okay, if I stand here with the boner, it's coming straight out of me. I was like, so a woman must have, in the same general vicinity, just a fucking hole. Just that the penis just goes into. It's what made sense to me at the time. I thought, I had no idea.
No.
I was like, gosh, I don't know if I want to see that. Like, I'm fine with just the boobs for now.
Yeah, I don't even remember. Fuck, it must have been. I don't know. I don't even remember the first time I ever saw a vagina.
I remember the first time I ever saw like actual like hardcore pornography. Because I don't count.
It's startling.
It is. I don't count Girls Gone Wild as that because it was just girls like smacking their boobies and vaginas all around. Smacking them around. Punching the bucket, The first time I ever saw pornography was a friend of mine in school. He had a PSP, and on PSPs It's the PlayStation Portable, but people used to call them the Porn Station Portable because the only thing anybody ever did was download pornography to fucking things. Because it was the first handheld device that had access to the internet.
Yeah.
And so people would download pornography to them because it also had like an internal hard drive, so you could download video files. And I remember we were in our civics class, and he tapped me on the shoulder, and he was just like, check this out. And it was just this vagina, and like, it was
things were happening.
It was getting it on, and I was like, whoa. I didn't expect to see that today.
Wow, wee, wow.
Wow, wee, wow. There were a lot of sounds and fluids. And
it is fucking startling the first time.
I got to tell you, that is probably, if you were ever going to be gay, your reaction to seeing that is going to be what determines that. Because, if you just look at the utilitarian side of it, it is a disgusting fucking thing. There is nothing attractive about a penis going into a vagina. No. It just, from like a medical standpoint, it's just gross. But were it not for your instincts, you would never want to do it.
No. This goes to show you like how animalistic.
Yeah, how much of that is instinct driven,
Yeah, how much of your chimp brain is still.
Yeah. I want to put my mouth on it. It's like, do you?
You sure about that?
You sure about that? It tastes like warm pennies.
I think like the first time like I ever saw like pornography was HBO had like it was like Real Sex or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just like this like docu-series that they did about like different like weird like cult sex people or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't remember where it was I saw this, but I remember that it was like this like 65-year-old woman.
Oh God.
With like 3 guys.
Oh man.
And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what is that?
At 65 years old?
Yes, she was old, like an old hippie lady.
Oh, okay.
She was like,
she was sexually liberated.
She had like gray dreadlocks and like these long titties.
These long, saggy titties that have just been through it.
Yeah, and she was getting work in.
Oh, God.
I was like, what the fuck is this?
You're like, is that what my first time is going to be like?
Is that what that is? And there was like a whole thing I think about like a stripper or something.
Yeah.
But that was like seared into my memory.
Yeah. I remember like when my buddy showed me that, I didn't have any like desire to like seek more of it out.
No.
I was like, okay, I'm just going to pretend like I didn't see that. I'm just going to try and go about my day. And then I remember like the second time that I was ever exposed to pornography, it was actually hentai. And again, it was a buddy showing it to me. And it was it was a hentai woman being assaulted by tentacles.
Oh, great!
So my first two like
you really jumped in the deep end.
You really did. Let me just go ahead and say that it didn't set my tastes for anything. Yeah. I was like, I gotta say, this whole pornography thing is a lot more upsetting than I expected it to be. Because, like, the only thing I knew about pornography prior to that was, like, the shit that I saw in the movies. Like, the guys were talking, hey, porn. And, like, I saw it, and I was like, this makes me feel bad. Yeah. I don't like this.
Like, the woman's crying.
Yeah. Do we have a? We're getting close to the end of our time here. Do we have a Super Cringe Thursday?
We did.
We do. Which one was? Which one did we post?
Remember, it was the Lips of an Angel.
Ah, how could I forget? Why don't you take it away?
Yeah, so I think originally...
And then I want to talk about the one that I wanted to post prior to that.
So that's what I was going to say. So the original one, we tried multiple different links to try to get it to work.
Yeah.
And...
Facebook kept saying... It kept, like, preemptively... It wouldn't let us post it. It kept saying, like, this goes against our standards on... Was it bullying? Or hate speech?
I didn't catch that.
It was bullying
It just said
or
it was
hate
against
speech?
community standards is one that I saw.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it just said community standards. That's right.
And so that was for the YouTube link. And then so I was like, okay, well, let me go see if this person has a Facebook page, because then I can just share it directly from the Facebook page. And I don't know if like they locked it from sharing or something. Yeah. But it wouldn't let me share it. So, but I'll let you talk about that. I just wanted to preemptively say that we had another one picked out.
Yeah. So the original one that we had picked out was from it's either a guy or a group. I'm assuming it's one guy called Thicc Bois, and he made a song called "My Cosplay Girlfriend." The entire song is about how his previous girlfriend broke up with him. It's an animated music video, and his previous girlfriend broke up with him. And then he ended up finding a new girlfriend who does cosplay at, like, anime conventions. As you can imagine, it's you know, of course, you can already tell this is very cringy. The whole thing's super duper cringy. But you should go look it up. One of the interesting things to me about that particular video is he keeps repeating how he's over his ex. And I'm like, buddy...
Are you?
It really doesn't seem like you are. Like, you went out of your way to write a song about this girl who I can guarantee you does not exist.
Right.
And how she's so much better than your ex. I don't think you moved on.
No.
So go look that up. Go look up "Cosplay Girlfriend" by Thicc Bois. You, if you have the palate for cringe at this point, like we do, you'll appreciate it. But yeah, the other one was fucking white trash nonsense.
I was about to say, this is like the opposite end of the spectrum. I don't think that these two sets of people have anything in common.
Nothing. There's a large gap between those two.
Yeah, there's like a large social gap here.
Yes.
Like
many miles.
Yeah, many miles.
Yeah.
So of course, we couldn't get that to work, so we started looking for other videos.
Yeah.
And so I happened to stumble across one that is with a gentleman and a lady.
He is not a gentleman.
and a lady.
By any stretch of the imagination.
And a lady.
And that is not a lady.
And so they're like at looks like maybe a county fair, perhaps.
Yeah, because there's like kids
Yeah, there's
around.
like children around. And so...
There's like a hog race going on in the background.
He's going to give her a hog race. And so there's music playing in the background. Like they're like next to a stage and there's people in like plastic lawn chairs.
Yeah.
And they're like,
there's obviously like some kind of local band.
Yeah, local band like covering Hinder's Lips of an Angel.
Lips of an Angel. Again, this is the second cringe video we've posted about Lips of an Angel.
Yeah. So this guy is, I don't even really know how to explain this. He's
they're slow dancing with one another.
That's what you want to call that.
And he's all
aggressively grabbing at her.
He's aggressively grabbing at all her rolls. She has quite numerous amount of rolls and back
like
folds.
One time he like grabs her.
Yeah, he grabbed her by the throat at one point.
Like you said, there's like children around.
Yeah, there's like right behind him, there's like these two little kids that are like doing that little hop around dance that kids do. but he's lip syncing. He's singing along the lyrics of Lips of an Angel, which, you know, I wouldn't count that as a romantic song that you sing to your partner because it's being sung by the perspective of a man who is cheating on his partner.
Right.
With another woman.
I mean, maybe she's the other woman.
Maybe she is. I don't know.
I don't see how anyone could ever be another woman to this man.
Yeah. How does he have two?
And so, like, the whole thing is just, it's a fucking...
It's gross.
It's wild.
It's gross. Yuck.
And so, I mean, that really... To be honest with you, I didn't watch the whole thing. I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
I couldn't make it. If you could, bravo.
Did anything wild happen at the end to let us know? Because I don't think I watched the whole thing either. I was like, I got the gist of this. I see what this is.
I don't need to see any more of this.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. There's just something about
that song.
Yeah, there's just something about, like, that particular song just seems to really...
It really resonates with the trailer trash community.
Really brings them out of the woodwork.
It does. And what is it? Because they are not having... Well, maybe they are. I was going to say maybe they think they're having, like, this, you know, scandalous love triangle affair-laden life. But it's not sexy. It's not sexy like it is in the music video. It's very disgusting in real life.
It's like the music video, like the guy's got like chunky rings.
Yeah, like a deep V.
Yeah, like a deep V. He obviously hasn't eaten in days because he's very high on
high on 90s drugs.
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s drugs. I don't know what was big at the time.
Whereas, like, you have spent the last... Coke? Yeah, you've spent the last... I think heroin was...
Heroin, that's the one.
Yeah, he's getting ready to take a dope nap.
Yeah.
But as opposed to, like, this gentleman who has spent the last 20 years...
I was going to say, he's probably the last...
Pounding brewskis.
Yeah. I was going to say, he's probably been awake the past 72 hours.
Yeah. He looks very sleepy.
On crack.
His eyes are closed the whole time.
Yeah.
He's just like, his eyes are closed, and he's just like grabbing at her.
See, there was a lot to grab. Any choice was a good choice. I can't even tell which tits. It's just all tits. You're just a big old ball of tits, Charlene. Why are you calling me so late?
It's like 2 o'clock on Thursday. Oh, God.
That song...
The reason why it's so funny to me is because that's our fucking hometown.
Yeah.
I mean, it might as well
sure.
It might as well fucking been where we grew up.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it.
Like, his name might as well be like Dwayne.
Yeah.
And her name might as well be like Barbara.
It's entirely possible that we went to school with these people.
There's a pretty good chance.
Yeah. That song, you know, the way that dude, he sings with that kind of like airy, raspy, kind of voice. The actual guy in this particular video, the people that are covering the song kind of suck.
It's a local band.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a very good cover.
It's your typical shitty local band.
But the actual like, the actual like band, the real band that wrote and performed the song, like that type of singing is very of that era of music.
Oh yeah,
just like that. Honey, why you calling me?
Like Buck Cherry.
Yeah, he's like it's all breathy.
Yeah,
and I can't stand that. Like, it's so grating to me.
No. Would that be considered post grunge?
Yeah, I would consider that post grunge.
That must be like very late.
A lot of like the musical aspect of it is still grunge, but it's taking itself like very, I don't know, grunge was pretty serious. It took itself pretty serious. But post-grunge was definitely like, musically it was kind of the same thing, but lyrically it was a bit more like, it didn't have as much substance.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's like it was nowhere near like Rooster
No.
by like Alice in Chains.
Yeah. No, nothing like
which
that.
is, mwah.
It's a fantastic song.
I mean, all of their albums.
I Stay Away.
Oh, yeah.
I Stay Away is probably my absolute most favorite grunge song ever. It is such a good song.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the music video for that? The like claymation, like
I don't think so.
where they're all like in a carnival or whatever. It's really good. It's really, really cool. It's very creative.
Well, I mean, as far as like those, the three big ones, of course, are Pearl Jam,
Alice in Chains,
and Nirvana. Alice in Chains is, you know, head and shoulders above the other two.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, I do like Pearl Jam. There's some Pearl Jam stuff I like. Eddie Vedder gets on my nerves.
Yeah.
I mean, I can listen to them like a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy the music aspect of it, not necessarily like the lyrics.
Yeah.
But like Alice in Chains kind of like brings it all together for me.
Yeah.
I really enjoy, like, as far as like grunge is concerned.
I do too. Alice in Chains kind of leans more in towards like contemporary rock.
Yeah.
Than grunge. I think Pearl Jam is a bit more grunge, and then of course I think Nirvana is about as grunge as it can get.
Yeah.
I don't particularly care for Nirvana.
I've never been a
A
fan.
lot of their music is very grating to me.
No.
But I appreciate what they did for the genre
Right.
because then you had other bands that kind of picked it up and
Right.
kind of, you know, modulated it and turned it into something different.
In Nirvana, like they have some stuff like super like grunge.
Yeah.
And then you have other stuff like Smells Like Teen Spirit, which isn't as grunge.
It's a bit more poppy.
Yeah, as like some of their other stuff.
Any Nirvana shit that you hear on the radio is not grunge.
No.
That's all. That's all.
More it's like their mainstream stuff
Yeah.
that they did.
That stuff is the reason why he blew his head off with a shotgun. All that crap they play on the radio.
I don't think he did it.
Well, like we've only got 7 minutes left. Let's not go too hard and hard on that one.
Dave Grohl agreed with me at one point. I don't know if he still holds that.
Hey, it's 12:02
Hey, happy
right
New
now.
Year,
Happy
everyone.
New Year, everybody! Dun, da, 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 Christmas past and New Year's Eve is here. I don't know how the song goes.
I have no clue. I know that there was like a fat baby with a hat on at one point. It wasn't like the New Year's baby.
You know, Baby New Year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't like what
I thought that was like
thing?
a Looney Tunes character,
No,
wasn't it?
maybe.
A fat baby with a hat on.
Just any old baby.
Any old fat baby. Is it like, I think the New Year's Eve song has a lot of like Latin in it, doesn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
Ooh, that was a big one.
I don't think I've ever actually heard the words to it.
I've heard like people sing it before, but I don't know if I've never been able to like discern the actual words that are being sung.
Yeah. I don't know. Most of the time I'm not even fucking awake right now. Because, I mean, I've seen enough. I've been awake for enough of these.
It's just another fucking one of these.
Yeah.
It's just another fucking one. Ain't nothing's different. Nothing's gonna get better. Hope you enjoyed last year. That's what you're getting this year.
I don't know. Like, I remember, like, as a kid, like, New Year's Eve was like, it was like a big deal.
Well, I think because as a kid, there's a lot that changes every year.
Oh, yeah.
Especially because of school.
No.
School is the biggest thing, right?
No.
Like you go into a new grade, and it's like, okay, well, what challenges does that bring? You're learning all new things. You're
Right.
probably going to be exposed to more people, and
Maybe a little bit of pornography.
maybe
if you're
some
Gary.
kid will show you some porn on his PSP, and then maybe one year you'll learn that your entire musical career was a farce. Who knows what the future may hold? Yeah, I mean, yeah, once you get out of school, I think life kind of, there's a lot of things about, like, life that kind of don't mean as much.
No.
New Year's Eve being one of them. But also summer break. When's the last time summer meant anything to you?
That doesn't. It means it's hot outside.
Yeah, it
all
means it's
America.
hot. Yeah, that's all it means.
But yeah, like I remember, like as a kid, like being like watching the ball drop and you know, or like seeing like here's like the musical act or something like that.
Yeah, I wonder what we've been down here. Of course.
Fuck, we should have did the fucking ninja.
Oh, I'm not seeing enough movement out there.
That's what we should have picked for New Year's.
I think we did that one year.
Did we?
I think we did that one week. For Super Kids Thursday. I'm pretty sure we did.
I was gonna say that'd have been perfect for the New Year.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have.
Oh well.
Oh well.
If it's still going next year, we'll do it.
I'm sure something cringy happened this year. We've been down here recording for an hour and a half, so I'm sure we missed whatever cringy thing happened at the New Year's Eve celebration. Who was that guy that they had every year that would do the thing and he would do the countdown? What was that guy's name? He ended up having a stroke.
Yeah, he was old when that happened.
That was like his thing. Like he did the New
Dick
Year's.
Van Dyke?
Was it Dick Van Dyke? That sounds right.
I think it was Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah. At the New Year's Eve celebration.
What a wild name.
Yeah, no kidding. It almost kind of sounds like a stage name. I wonder if that was his real name.
Maybe. Like the first name's Dick and the last name's Dyke.
Dick Dyke. Maybe his name was Dick Dyke and he was like, I got to throw something in there, a prefix in there somewhere.
Yeah, you imagine like being the parents like,
He's
we're going to fuck this kid up real big time.
He's like, Dick McDyke? No, that's not it. There was one year after he had his stroke. Excuse me, everybody. I think I'm a little buzzed. After he had his stroke, where he was doing the countdown, I remember he was like 10, 9, 8, 6. Everybody was like, oh, don't pay attention to it. Just keep going. I think after that year, they didn't have him. No. They didn't have him on anymore.
I think who does it now? There was like one of like the early 2000s guys that had one of the shows that he does it now. No, it's not. It was who was the guy that did American Idol for the longest time?
Ryan Seacrest?
Is it him? It's either
I think
him.
So.
It's either him or the guy that used to do Extreme Home Makeover.
It's not Ty Bennington. It's not, because I was thinking it was Ty Bennington, and then like my thoughts went to that one video where he blew up those people's house. And like they were at like a Disneyland resort or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
They were going to do a home makeover, but their house was so fucked up that all they could do was demolish it. So they packed the house full of like 500 pounds of TNT. Like it was like way too much. like obviously it was for
blew
spectacle.
The windows out of the...
Well, I mean, it definitely dismantled the house, but it had to have blown a crater in the ground. Like it was such an enormous amount of TNT. The video is so funny because it's got that early 2000s kind of editing to it where they keep like repeating the same shot over and over.
No.
And it's Ty Bennington going, ah! 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 He's just screaming and shouting. And they keep cutting to the family who are like sitting at poolside, like at this Disneyland resort looking at like a laptop of their own blowing up. It's so fucking funny. Yeah, but I don't think it's Ty Bennington.
I wonder who like they had to talk to as far as like finding out whether or not that's in code, if they could do that.
I'm telling you, it was. I'll show you once we finish up here. It's like the explosion. It's like the fucking Beirut explosion from a few years ago, where that warehouse went off like a nuclear bomb. It's like that. Let's see. So Dick Clark was the guy's name.
Who's Dick Van Dyke? Did he have a show? There's like the Dick Van Dyke show.
There was
right?
a Dick Van Dyke show. I think that was like a variety show, if I'm not mistaken.
That was a real popular name at one time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe it was. So New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest.
Oh, okay, it is Ryan Seacrest then.
There's a lot of they have a lot of acts. Mariah Carey, Duran Duran.
Yeah.
Wow, blast from the past. But yeah, so not Ty Bennington.
That's unfortunate. I always felt he was like a cheap knockoff.
Yeah. You know, I remember we used to watch that show, American whatever, fucking here's your house, fuck your house. Um, we used to watch that all the time, and I feel like in a lot of the early episodes, he wasn't as insane. Like, he was kind of a normal dude.
You just like slowly see him descend into madness.
But there was this one episode where somebody dropped like a refrigerator on his head or something like that. And like he had to go to the hospital. And when he came back, he was really weird after that. And I think ever since that incident, he was kind of a strange guy. He had like a Gary Busey accident.
I remember for the longest time I got him mixed up with the ShamWow guy. And I always told people that he bit a hooker's tongue off. It's like Ty Bennington. I was like,
yeah. Tell
yeah.
everyone you know. Ty Bennington bit a hooker's tongue off. I wonder how many people, like, they told two friends, they told two friends.
It's sort of like the Marilyn Manson deal.
Oh, yeah, he had two ribs removed so he could suck his own dick.
I don't know how that got started.
Yeah, once you hit middle school, everybody just kind of, like, we all had, like, a cultural, like, awakening. Like, we've got to tell this story.
It's like, I will pass down this information that has been passed down
through the generations.
Through the generations.
The forbidden knowledge. Excuse me. Oh, goodness. Well, I think it's about all we got time for today, everybody. I'm a little buzzed. I'm feeling it because
How much did you drink?
Oh, I made the whole thing.
Oh.
I'm not drunk, but I'm definitely, I feel
I didn't like drink any of this.
My head's like swimming a little bit. So.
But I also have to drive home, so.
Well, I'm going to go to bed. That's the perks of recording in my home. But I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. I hope that the new year brings more growth to the podcast. And if you would like to help contribute to that growth, make sure that you like and review the podcast on your preferred platform and share it with your friends and tell people that you know about it. We still have some stickers left over, guys. So if anybody wants some stickers, the QR code doesn't link to anything anymore because I wasn't about to pay $120 for that. But it still has the name of the podcast on it, so that'll still work. If you want some stickers, let us know and we'll get those to you. If we were wrong about anything or if we have anything that you would like us to talk about, make sure you let us know. You can write into us at thickboypodcast@gmail.com or you can message us on Facebook. Those are going to be the best ways to reach out to us. Do you have anything you'd like to close with, Wes?
Nope, just the usual. I did see where you can bleep this person's name out.
Okay.
He got a promotion. He works as a LEO. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, shout out to you.
Shout out to you.
Shout out to you. Congratulations.
You know who you are.
You know who you are.
Congratulations. I'm sure it was well earned.
Yes.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that. I know that he stated that he's listened to podcasts before. So if he's listening, congratulations to you.
I think we said before, like, if he listens, like, while he's on patrol, he's got, like, somebody in the back, like, listening to the podcast.
He's got it pretty good, huh?
Yeah. You ever listen to these guys? In between your crimes.
But yeah, so other than that, just the same old. Thank you so much for the continued support. We really do appreciate it. Like Gary stated, if we aren't on your preferred podcast platform, just let us know, and we'll try to get there. I think pretty much at this point, we're pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
But other than that, we have one guy that keeps contacting us trying to get onto the podcast.
Oh, yeah, we need to talk about the guy. Next episode, we'll bring him up. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
So I don't think that jives with what we're doing here.
I don't think it does either. In his first email, he did mention that. He said, now you may be thinking that my particular content and your podcast don't mesh.
What tipped you off?
Yeah, what could have made you think that? Maybe we should email him back and be like, what's your favorite episode?
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of all the episodes?
Right.
Yeah. Just to see if he's actually listened to any of them.
But yeah, other than that, just the same. Just thank you so much for the continued support. We're going into the new year now. This will be our we're in our third year.
Yeah.
Wow, it's been 3 years already. So you get about 30 episodes a year, a little bit, give or take.
Yeah.
We still have something coming up for episode 100.
Yeah.
And as we get closer, we inch closer to that, we'll let you know. I think we're going to be recording in a different location next time we record.
Oh yeah.
So that'll
remind
be,
me to get with you on that. What you need to download and everything.
Okay, and that'll be interesting. So maybe we might have a guest or two.
A guest or two pop in.
on.
Yeah.
We might record maybe 1 or 2 episodes while we're there.
Who knows?
So who knows? We'll see.
All right. Well, that's the podcast, everybody. Thank you and goodbye.